welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to be doing a book review on this lovely little book called A Darker Shade of Magic. So if you want to hear all my opinions, go ahead and keep on watching. Before we begin, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and make sure to notify all notifications by clicking that bell icon. That helps out the channel. And also, if you liked this review, go ahead and share it with a friend or family member who likes this book as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into A Darker Shade of Magic. A Darker Shade of Magic follows a magician named Kel through 4 different Londons. A red London, a black London, a gray London, and a white London. So every London is basically very similar to each other, but in some ways different. And one of the things that stays the same in each London is there's a little shop that Kel goes to and sells his little knickknacks from other Londons. So a little bit of background is there used to be magic, and there used to be a lot more magicians in these Londons than there are now. And they actually used to have like doorways in between Londons so people could kind of hop about. But because of something that happened in Black London, the doors have closed and no one, unless they are a magician, can go ahead and travel between Londons. It's completely closed off for safety reasons because it says that Black London was kind of overtaken by the magic and kind of destroyed it basically. So no one's allowed in or out anymore, and to protect the other Londons from the magic, they just kind of ban magic altogether, and the people who don't have the ability to use elemental magic just don't have any trinkets or any magical possessions in their grasp. So just off the bat, I really liked this book. It begins with Kel and immediately begins with him in a different London. So he kind of is a messenger from kings and queens to other Londons, seeing how things are going there. He's kind of just like a little owl, if you want to compare it to that. So the kings and queens might give little tokens, might say, hey, you need to deliver this to this, give me a note, and they're kind of run it back, and that's kind of how the Londons communicate. Granted, Kel is a magician, and from the first page we are notified how magic kind of works. Magic can be basically used with blood and also elements. So there's air, water, fire, and earth that people can manipulate. Some people are more drawn towards some elements than others, and some can actually go ahead and just control all of them. So maybe one can control fire, or the other one can control earth. Kel can control all of them, and including, he mentions bone magic, which is like illegal magic because it apparently can control humans and peoples and actions, which, as you can tell, would not be a very good thing. So Kel he kind of just hops about from London to London, and he lives in Red London. So he is part of the royal family, which it was kind of confusing because at first he calls them mom and dad, my brother. He calls the prince his brother, and I kind of was like, wait, is he like part of the family? Like, is that his actual mom and dad? I didn't really understand the workings of it. But once you continue reading, basically what happened was the king and queen kind of adopted him, and from a very young age, and ever since then he has called them mom and dad, and the prince a brother, just because they kind of grew up together, so they have that brotherly bond. And I loved that aspect of this book, as well as the relationships. Kel is so dedicated to his brother, even though he's a little bit of a snot at times. He's a little selfish, he's a little all about himself, which I think is definitely a character flaw, but you get to learn more about the prince, and you get to kind of see a little bit of his insecurities, which I really enjoyed as well. So Kel goes to, I believe, White London, and he meets with the king and queen there, and the king and queen have control over their magician, whose name is Holland. And Holland is like Kel, he's a magician, and he, I believe, is the only other one they know about. until Lila kind of comes into the photo, but I'll get into her in a second. So what happens is Kel is coming home from White London and he encounters somebody and says, can you please take this to my son or something in so-and-so London? And he's like, okay. So he takes his little envelope and like a package and he jet sets to a different London to drop it off, and he's always like, probably shouldn't be doing this. This is kind of illegal. I don't know if I should be doing this. He realizes he has been set up and he now has a possession of Black London. And this possession of his is a little rock and it's Black London. And it kind of creates chaos wherever he goes. So he calls it like raw magic, and it's very, very dark. It kind of has its mind of its own. And actually, like how he uses it to protect himself at times. And say he like stabs somebody or something, the thing that eventually stabs the person, the magic that's in that sword, that's made out of that sword, leaches into that person and ends up kind of possessing them and taking this corpse and walking around with it. So I'm trying to think of a movie that reminds me of it. So the movie that I'm thinking about is Men in Black. I believe it's Men in Black 2. Maybe 1, I'll have to see. But you know that alien that eats the farmer and then takes on his skin and kind of walks around, and he's like just this dying corpse and it's just kind of falling off of him. That's what I imagine this to be, because it's like this corpse is decaying and it's disgusting and he's walking around with it and it's pretty nasty. So the power of the stone kind of has its own life and its own life force and its own agenda, which is basically to kill everyone and take over. So that's awesome. But Kel eventually gets kind of kidnapped and by a thief named Layla, I think. It's like Lila or Layla. Oh, it's Delilah. So her name is Delilah. I just call her Lila, I think she goes by. And she is a kind of a pirate. So she has her own little ship. Well, she doesn't own it, but she definitely stays on a ship and she dreams about sailing the seas, not answering to anybody, and being her own little pirate. So she runs into Kel and pickpockets him and ends up with a stone. So Kel is like, no, I need that back, follows the magic and kind of ends up in her room where she knocks him out and he passes out. So from there, Kel gets the stone back and Lila kind of just gets roped into this adventure because she has the lingering sense of magic on her, which Holland, the second magician, follows her, and in order to get to the stone from Black London, he kidnaps her and tries to get Kel to come back and get her. So she's now enemy number 1 as well as Kel. So Kel and Lila go on this huge adventure about avoiding Holland, trying to save everybody and trying to get the stone back to Black London. And it was full of adventure. I really, really enjoyed the language used. I'm a sucker for good language and good tone, and this actually reminded me a lot of Sarah J. Maas, but I liked it better because I'm not going to get into that right now. But it's definitely, it had that tone Sarah goes for, but it's executed so much better. Lila, I really, really liked. I thought she was super independent. I really liked that character. The only thing I didn't like, and this is going to be nitpicky, but she is described as manly looking. She has short hair, and when you first kind of look at her, you think she's a man, and then you're like, no, she's a woman. And I think that's great. Like, you know, she has this identity of a man, and so nobody knows that she's a woman, so she can go about her daily rituals without kind of being recognized, and then at night she can be this, you know, guy. But I didn't love that, and the reason being is because I know, like, she's going for a strong, independent woman, and if you want to be a strong, independent woman, that's awesome, but why do you have to disguise yourself as a man to be independent? That's kind of my thing. Like, I would have loved it for her to be super girly, but super badass. And she was badass and she was amazing, and it's fine that she wants to be dressing like a man. And when she goes to a masquerade ball, you know, she has this, you know, this costume maker be like, oh, let me get you a dress, let me get you this, this, this. She's like, no, I'll take a cape and a mask, and literally the people who are there think she's a man. And I felt like she should have owned her femininity, feminacity. I don't know what I'm thinking of. But she should have owned her female side and kind of just been unapologetic in it and said, this is who I am, but just because I'm a woman doesn't make me weak, and I'm going to show that to you. I really, really wish V.E. Schwab would have done that with her. That is my only gripe with Lila, and she really was really cool to read about, and I loved her last scene. I think she actually got like the last line of this. Yeah. She did, and I loved the ending of it. I can't wait to pick up book 2. I think this is a trilogy, so I'm super excited about that. Another thing that I found that was very confusing is the different Londons. It was hard to keep track of, at least for me, because I kept getting caught up on there's 3, no there's 4, no there's 3, because also on the cover you can only see like 2, I guess 3 if you count like the white, and you can see Cal jumping over the Londons. So I really liked how she described the different Londons, and she kind of made them each unique. Like the red London has a red hue to it, white London's kind of in despair, and it's like a dangerous city. So I definitely like how she made them all unique in a way, but I definitely think it was a little bit confusing. I think either going with 2 or 3 would have been better than 4, just because I didn't feel like we went to all of them a lot. And technically there's 3 Londons, because Black London doesn't really count because you can't really go there. But it got kind of confusing with it, but I definitely really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what happens, because I want to see the different Londons. I want to see exactly what Lila has in the store, because they mentioned she might have a little bit of magic. So I'm excited to see how that goes. I hope she becomes more feminine. That's nitpicky, and I'm probably gonna get eaten alive in the comments, but I'm just saying, like, if you want to be a strong, independent woman, I feel like you don't have to be a man to do that, or to look like a man to get respect. And that's kind of my review. So out of 5 stars, I would give this a 3.5, just because it did take me a little bit longer to read it, but it definitely kept me guessing at times, and I had about 50 pages to go the last night, and I was exhausted that night, and I just was like, oh, maybe I'll read like 10 pages or something. I was being lazy, and the book just had me flipping the pages so quickly, and I was done in like 20-30 minutes. So I can't wait to see what happens next. If you guys liked this video, make sure to like it, subscribe, and hit that bell icon to be notified every single time I upload. And I will see you guys in my next book review, which if you have any recommendations for me, leave them in the comments below, or what you would like to see from me. Also, my book is coming out soon, Red Siren, so keep updated on that by following me on Instagram and Twitter. And I can't wait to see you guys later.